What is good? What is really good, my people? It is the UK Troller Brother, Dr. Blick, the darkest man around, and I'm here with VengefulWilberg. Say hi to the people, man.
What is up, bros and bras? And this is your boy VengefulWilberg, and it is awesome to be here yet again with my boy Dr. Blick.
And yeah, guys, today we'll be talking about the character roster of One Piece Burning Blood and whether it breaks the game, whether it makes the game terrible, whether it actually ruins the game. Because I know people out there have been like upset about the news of this character roster. Some people are saying it's a rumor, some people are saying it's confirmed. Me personally, the more I think about it, I'm not sure if it's official, but considering where the source is from and where the source said it got it from as well, it is leaning more to this being the roster for this game. Me personally, I find it disappointing, but Venge, let me let you start off with your thoughts about it. What do you think about the roster for One Piece Burning Blood, and do you think it's going to break the game, Venge?
Okay, I'll go ahead and state my claim here. Honestly, I agree with what you were saying in regards to the roster, that the roster really isn't going to break the game. That's my overall opinion. It's not going to break it. Now, it's definitely a bit disheartening, especially if there's a character that you feel should be in it that's not quite there. And there are two characters that comes to mind when it comes to me, because I did videos on both these characters, and this is Rob Lucci and Garp. Like, those characters both played a significant role in the story, and there were key elements in the story, whether it's the struggle, the mental struggle with Garp, and whether he's going to intervene in the Marineford arc or not, or and you have Rob Lucci, where he was the one that kind of like set the tone for Luffy and his view on the world in regards to One Piece, because Luffy had that one moment with Rob Lucci where he just, no matter what Rob Lucci did to him, he said he will not fall. This man got hit with Rob Lucci's 16 guns countless times, his most devastating attack, and Luffy just did not fall, and he was suffering. So, to see two characters that played such a heavy role, it's a bit disappointing, but at the same time, you're like, well, in my opinion, it's not gonna break the game. It's disheartening, but it just won't.
Yeah, I completely agree with what you're saying. Me personally, where the character roster fails at, they need to bring it in terms of content. So what I mean in terms of content, like, if we're not gonna have Lucci, we're not gonna have Garp, we're not gonna have Bellamy, yada yada yada, they need to make sure this game has a lot of content. Because let's say they're gonna make a sequel for One Piece Burning Blood. We don't know they're gonna make a sequel. When people say, they're gonna add these characters in the sequel, we don't know that. We don't know if there's gonna be a sequel. We don't know whether the community would welcome a sequel, because we haven't played the official game yet. But what I'm trying to say is that in terms of where it failed in roster, it needs to be up there in terms of content. Like, there are games out there that have amazing combat, like Burst Limit had a great combat, the Budokai series had a great combat. But if you just look at the character roster for both of them games as a whole, they weren't really that big. Like, Burst Limit had like 30 characters or even less than 30 characters, but in terms of combat, that game was amazing. But in terms of content, that game sucked. Then you got games like Raging Blast 2 that had a massive character roster, but hardly any content. So me personally, the character roster for One Piece is a big deal, because loads of characters are fan favorites, and the theme was use your favorite Devil Fruit / Haki user. And seeing the fact that you can't do that, that kind of makes everyone on the fences of how they feel about this game. Whether this will be the complete character roster, we have to wait and see. But based on that source, it said it's the complete character roster. If it's wrong, I will debunk it myself, because I put a video out there saying that that's the complete character roster. But as a whole, they need to step up in terms of content. They need to make this game somewhat filling so it will last longer than games like Stormfall, because let's face it, Stormfall didn't really last that long. So as a whole, where they failed in character roster, hopefully there's more characters to be confirmed. They will up it in terms of content and in terms of combat. Like, I would like to think that they focus on balancing the game out, and that's the reason why they have less characters. But I don't know, like, if the game's balanced or not. It will most likely have some broken things. I don't know. So for the most part, with One Piece Burning Blood, regarding the story mode, regarding everything that we have, I'm a bit confused on how I feel about this game and whether you should buy it, if you know what I mean, Venge.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, because like, just to kind of like piggyback on what you said about Storm 4, especially since I followed the Storm series for so long, and the fact that there is a huge disconnect in regards to Storm 4. A lot of people felt that Storm 4 was going to be that game that was going to make up for the blunders of Revolution, but apparently that wasn't the case, especially because of the fact that content-wise, the game is wrecked. I mean, like, it did well in some parts and did horribly in everything else, especially the most important part, because when it comes to Storm games, like the story mode, like, once you're finished with the story mode, chances are you're not going to come back to it, and it's going to be a major focus on the online aspect of the game. And two important things that was always consistent throughout the series that everyone loved was, you know, like the 8-player endless in the spectator mode, and the fact that you could spectate in the tournaments, and so much of that was missing. And so it really hurt the replay value of Storm 4 altogether.
Yeah, like, that boils back to what I said in the video I did with Dr. Love. Like, when you have stuff like endless spectator mode and all that stuff, it makes the game more of a community game. More people coming together and playing together, watching great fights, watching epic battles, watching things like that that stand out in front of people when they're playing the game. Like, stuff like that, it makes people want to play the game, because the best way you're going to have fun with a game is when you're playing with your friends, when you're playing with a group of people that you enjoy playing fighting games with, or you're just playing with other people in general. And Storm kind of took away that community aspect with Endless and stuff like that. So with Burning Blood, they need to not make the same mistakes. But another thing that made Storm even bad, we knew it was going to be the last Storm game. So whatever mistakes they make in this game, whatever stuff that they take away from this game, ain't coming back in any future Storm game, because it's the last one. So when it comes to me and Burning Blood, I feel that they need to, and I mean they need to, have a good combat system. Like, decent is not good enough anymore, because the character roster is small. It needs to have a good combat system, and it also needs to have a fair amount of content. If it doesn't have them two, the game is not going to do well, because you're taking away most of the people's favorite characters. You take away, because like this goes back to what I was saying before. One Piece, when it comes to One Piece, there's a lot of fan favorites. Not everyone's gonna have the same favorite characters. Everybody's fan favorites are all different, so they cannot fail in terms of combat and in terms of like the content, like I just said. You got anything more to add?
Yeah. Just one quick thing. And you're so right. Like what you mentioned about, you know, like the demographics in regards to everyone's fan favorite, and the fact that some of those favorites are going potentially missing, it is disheartening. Because I can tell you right now, like, there are some reasons why I can understand why some characters are not missing, such as what you mentioned before, like a lot of the characters from East Blue, for the most part, isn't going to be added because of the fact that they would be a lot weaker, such as Arlong, like one of the characters that I actually enjoy. I can understand the reason why he's not in. So, I mean, it's a juggling act, and they have to balance it out really well, because like you said, if the gameplay isn't up to snuff, it's going to hurt the game immensely. It happened to so many games before, whether it's Dragon Ball, Naruto, you name it. I mean, it happened to everybody. Every game out there. And I guess like the last thing that I also want to include in regards to Burning Blood is how are they really going to incorporate the story mode, because that's kind of going to hurt that too, like you mentioned before, in regards to what they would do. I was expecting for Lucci, if all the characters wasn't going to be added from the CP9 group, I was really thinking that Rob Lucci would be added, and they could have simply done it by using the prologue like they did in Burst Limit, and kind of like just summarize the events real quick and just like go straight into the battle with Luffy and Rob Lucci. But apparently that didn't happen. So
Yeah, like I completely agree with you. I thought they were gonna do that as well. But at this moment in time, hopefully it is like the whole confirmed character is fake. Like I said, if it's fake, I'll probably delete the video, probably take it down, or probably say rumored roster list on the title of the video. If it gets debunked as to be fake news, I'll just put a say rumored list on the video. And yeah, like guys, I want to know what you guys think. Do you think the character roster will break One Piece Band of Blood? To me, and Venge, it is a big issue. Hopefully it's false. And yeah, like that's pretty much all that we gotta say. And yeah, like yeah, please yeah please comment and subscribe. I know I say this all the time, but at the end of the day, I'm just saying, please leave a like, rate, enjoy this video, and yeah, catch you next one, guys. Bye.
Peace.
Work.